be afraid. Be very, very afraid that you might watch this movie. It's so bad. I don't feel like even talking about it. It's so generic. It is so blah and boring and just, it literally follows every fucking kind of stupid little plot device. And this was a chore. And I'm not gonna fucking lie, I did fast forward some of this because Jesus, it was bad. You know, it's funny, this movie actually started off in the first like 15-20 minutes and I was like, this might be okay, and it just got so much worse from there on. The things that I liked about this movie, it had good production value. I mean, it looked really good, which I guess actually kind of falls into the negative, because if it's got good production value, that means that it had a decent budget and it had a competent crew, and it had, so they could have made a good movie. There isn't an excuse like, well, we just didn't have the money and we didn't. No, they did. And this movie is just so poor. It was added to Netflix like today, I think, maybe yesterday, really soon. So I just press play on it, see what would happen. It's about a family that moves to town. The main character is a doctor. He has a pregnant wife. They have a young child, and his son moves back from college after he drops out. And there is a family in town that had lost their daughter 4 years previously, and the family that had lost their daughter, the dad is basically crazy at this point, is trying to find his daughter, and he convinces the doctor guy that something crazy is going on, and then they start seeing things. This movie plays, and the reason that I pressed play on this in the first place is because this movie said that it dealt with sleep paralysis. There's another horror movie thing. I don't exactly know how much of a horror movie it is and how much of a documentary it is, but there's something on there called Nightmare that deals with sleep paralysis. Now, I suffer from sleep paralysis very heavily. So, and I know how terrifying it can be, and I know how awful it feels. So, it's an intriguing concept for me, because I feel like if they could capture the fear, the terrible feeling that you get during it, it would be terrifying. But this movie has just got, the acting is either just like subpar, like just flatline, or bad. And there's just too many generic things throughout it. The bullies and the sheriff's daughter the kid's dating, and the like obvious twists, and it's just so dumb. I will have to say that the guy who loses his daughter and is looking for her, his voice, I don't know if the guy was a terrible actor or if it was just his voice was so deep that it was jarring. It kind of, it's not as deep as the dude in Underworld, but his voice is crazy sounding. So I thought that was interesting. Another thing I liked about this movie, the only other thing I liked about this movie, is the monster does look cool. I did like the monster. In which, yet again, there's yet another negative for me, because you had a cool looking monster. You had a budget. You had a competent crew. You had this and that. Why is your movie so bad? Like, I genuinely don't understand how anyone could find enjoyment. I mean, maybe if someone like hates horror movies and they want something super boring and bland because they like unscary, boring ass movies, I mean, it's possible somebody liked this. I mean, it's always possible, but it can't seize. I hate to call a movie bad. I never want to be that guy that's like, oh, the movie sucks. But it's like, this movie's just not good. Like, I can't imagine anyone who's a fan of horror being like, oh yeah, I had a good time with that. Like, there's nothing to have a good time with in this film. It's generic, it's bland, it's boring, the acting's bad. Like, there's really nothing to gain from this. And it's a tease, too. The main character's wife is fairly attractive, and she, like, you know, teases that she's going to show her boobs throughout this movie. In a scene, like, in a couple scenes, and it's just, like, this close and then nothing. And you're like, man, you can't even show me tits. Like, fuck you. Fuck this movie. In addition to it sucking, you have to tease me like that. No, don't watch this.